down to the abyssal lair of the Radiophonic Sea Creatures. Only ride bicycles made out of diamond and platinum because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me, as always, is a man whose bicycle is made entirely of grated cheese and dildos. It's Brack. How are you today, Brack?
After riding out on my bicycle, I think I have a painful butt. That's all I'm saying.
And a smile like the Joker plastered all over his pretty face. So what have you been up to, Brack? Let's dive straight into the shallows.
So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of movies. I went to see the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it's not much to say about it. It's like the usual like Marvel type movie, but it's good. It's real good. Like it has one of the best Marvel bad guys. You know, like Michael Keaton is the bad guy, and he's great, obviously. Like the main character playing Spider-Man actually feels like he's a high schooler for the first time. You know, like the normal, like Tobey Maguire was supposed to be in high school in the first Spider-Man, but he looks like a 35-year-old man. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's like the real version of like 21 Jump Street.
Yes. And this guy, okay, I think he's in his mid-20s, like Tom Holland playing Peter Parker now, but he looks young for somebody in his mid-20s, so it looks like he could be in high school with some make-believe. No crow's feet, like so. Yeah, it makes sense. And the rest of the cast is pretty good as well. Like if you watch a lot of TV shows, like I do, you recognize a lot of the actors because, like, one of the minor bad guys is Nacho from Better Call Saul, for example, and like stuff like that. Where like there's one guy, I recognize the guy from Fargo, and he's playing the Shocker in this. Stuff like that. That's fun for me. But yeah, Michael Keaton steals the show a lot of the times. The action isn't all that great, but like the best moments are actually like when Michael Keaton shows off with like Peter Parker, and they're like not even having a fight, but more of a dialogue. Those are like the best moments. And Tony Stark is still an asshole in this, and I recommend go see it. It's good.
Yeah, obviously Japan's on a delayed release schedules, but I would like to see that at the cinema. So it's an exciting thing. I liked him in Civil War. I thought it was a good introduction, and I want to see Michael Keaton as the bad guy. Although it's kind of funny that he played Batman, and then he played Birdman.
He played Birdman.
And then he's playing the Vulture. Like,
yeah.
There's definitely some irony in that, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that too. So thank you for not spoiling it for me. So I guess I'll talk first about a movie that I saw recently, which was a movie that I've seen hundreds and hundreds of times when I was younger, which was Heat, the Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Michael Mann masterpiece. So what is there to say about Heat? Amazing film, great action sequences, has one of the best gunfights in cinema history in the center of it. But when I was younger, that film was all about the action sequences and stuff. And the sort of the more bombastic nature of it. But I watched it for the first time in a few years, just recently with a friend of mine, and god damn, that movie's harrowing. I think when you can watch it as an adult, like when you get to sort of like my age, in sort of my mid to late 30s, like, and you watch that film, so many of the sort of subtext and subplots and emotional moments hit home way harder than they did when you were younger. And goddamn, that affected me quite substantially and made me cry many times during the film where I had never even thought about crying before. It was a real sort of eye-opener, just what a masterpiece, and just how fucking intensely emotional that film gets. Jesus. So just my advice to anybody who's listening to this is, and is kind of like my age and hasn't watched Heat for a good 10 years, go back and watch it, because that will hit you in all kinds of different ways when you're older. It's an absolute masterpiece. How about you, Brack?
I love Heat, like it's probably the perfect example of like the Michael Mann style, like in Michael Mann like movies, It's always in the middle of the day, or it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. There's like no in between. It's always like it's always just right. Like the streets are always look wet, and it's like that like neon lights reflecting and stuff like that. I really enjoy like his visual style a lot, and it's been a while since I've seen Heat. But what you remember first off is like that amazing like shootout sequence in the middle of it, and just like the amazing heist, which I think is like the main inspiration for like lots of shit in like GTA games.
Yeah.
Like there's like this entire mission in GTA 4 that's just like a rip off of Heat, and there's like GTA 5 is all about those heists that look a lot like some of the ones in Heat as well. But yeah, it's just an amazing movie, and I really like Michael Mann movies. It's just something about his like blue collar criminal like atmosphere that he does that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and like you say, I think definitely of his movies, Heat, I would think is the best one. I mean, all of his films are pretty great. I haven't seen any of his modern ones though, like his real recent ones.
Skip Black Hat. Black Hat
Yeah.
is not a good movie.
I've not
I
seen
think
that.
I think one of the first movies that I'm pretty sure you haven't seen yet is Thief, with James Caan in it, which is like almost a mixture of Drive and Heat, with like that Michael Mann style, and it's great. That you should totally watch that if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I've seen most of. I think I've seen almost all of Michael Mann's films. I haven't seen that one, but I did see like Manhunter and LA Takedown, which was
I
the
haven't
LA
seen Manhunter yet. LA Takedown is the one where it's like basically like
Heat.
Heat.
Yeah, but on a much lower budget with TV actors and Xander Berkeley, who's Ralph. Ralph, sit down in Heat is actually one of the main characters in LA Takedown, which is kind of funny. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, great movie. So if you haven't seen Heat, obviously go definitely watch that. And if you haven't watched it for a long time, go back and watch it, because as you get older, that film just fucks with you more on an emotional level. Jeez. All right, Brack, what's next up on your list?
Next up on my list is the video game Little Nightmares, which is also going to make it a TV show, I think. Like, I think the guys who made like Captain America: Civil War, those are the ones making that game into a TV show, which I can't understand why, because the game is entirely without dialogue. It's like a horror platformer. It feels a lot like it has a lot of like Tim Burton influence in there. It looks very creepy. The visual style is like the most impactful part about it, and the story is very much open to interpretation. But you're like a little character who's stuck on like a ship, like a horror type ship, and like all the characters that are there are trying to kill you and are trying to murder you, and you're very tiny, like you're like a Jack and the Giant Slayer, like you're like a tiny guy, and everything around you is huge.
Like your dick.
No, my dick is huge.
My dick is
my
the
dick
shit,
is the
baby.
giant. My dick is the giant. But yeah, it's really scary. It really freaked me out a couple of times because you die a lot. Like it's one of those.
To be honest, your dick would freak me out too. Carry on.
It reminds me a lot of like those those platformers like Limbo or Inside, where it's like you have to die a lot to understand the puzzle. And but here it's also you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to die a lot to understand the puzzle of Brack's dick.
That doesn't make sense at all. What does it even mean?
He just mentioned the word inside and all hell broke loose. Carry on.
But it's a good game, very scary, fun platforming game. Go play it. And it's really short though, so it's like 3 hours or something like that.
Like your dick.
My dick is 3 hours long? I think for dick that's pretty long.
No, well, I'm not sure. No, it's your dick is short, and 3 hours is what it takes to find it, probably.
It makes no sense as well. But,
I think it'll make some sense. But yeah, anyway, yes, Little Nightmares. But you can't really bet against the directors of Civil War, because they also made Winter Soldier, and both those movies were fucking crackerjack. So
yeah, but
you can't.
Those are like it's like this game is not made by them. They're gonna make the TV adaptation, but those are comic book movies with like I don't know, lots of characters and action and stuff. And this is like a very like whimsical, like Tim Burton style, like horror game without any story or dialogue, basically. So making that into a TV show seems very weird.
But who knows? You know, with the benefit of the doubt, it might be good. Was the game good? Yeah, it was.
Game's good.
You
Yeah.
liked it, right? Yeah. So
Uh,
is that on PlayStation or Steam or what?
PlayStation, probably also
Oh,
on Steam.
okay. I'll have to check that out. Um, or I guess I'm going to talk about a video game which I have talked about many times. But I'm going to talk about it one more time, just because the Radiophonic Sea Creatures have been sort of absent for a long time. Human Metal, bless his cotton sock, has got himself injured, so we've had to take like extended sabbaticals. Um, that's why he's absent today, because he's still injured, bless him. So get better, Human Metal. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to talk about Overwatch. So since the last time I talked about it on the Radiophonic Sea Creatures, Overwatch had its 1 year anniversary, like quite a while ago now. Um, so that's a multiplayer shooter. I don't really like multiplayer shooters, but somehow 1 year after its release, because I bought it when it was new, I'm still playing Overwatch. Even now, to this day, I'm still playing Overwatch. So it's the first game, the first multiplayer game I've ever played to last that long, and I think I just need to take my hat off and salute uh, to the world of Overwatch, because they keep pulling you back in. Just when you lose interest, they release another event that pulls you back in. They release a new character. We've got Doomfist just on the horizon. Lots and lots of great fun. And Brack and I just, since we last talked about it on the Radiophonic Sea Creatures, Brack and I have been ripping it up and taking names, and also getting a butt kicked a lot just recently, actually, now that I think about it. But we mostly take names, and just a lot of fun. So hats off to Overwatch. If you haven't played it, you know, believe the hype. It's real. It's such a fantastic game. Yeah, brilliant. Any thoughts about Overwatch, Brack? Because I know you've been fucking caning that game.
Yeah, I'm still playing it. It's a good game. It gets sometimes frustrating when you read like some drunken teammate who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about. But besides that, it's really fun.
I can understand that. It is also annoying to be stuck with a person so good, but knows he's so good that every single second that you're playing, oh, I just kicked ass. Oh, you should have seen what I just done. Oh, I've got to play the game for sure. And then it rolls around to the end, and then you're thankful that he's not played the game once in every fucking 20 games. And then his reaction is like, what? That's bullshit. Brack's a fucking ninja. What can I say? Brack, you got too much time on your hands. Alright, Brack, what's next on your list?
Next on my list is the TV show American Gods, which is based on one of my favorite books. And it's really hard to describe, but it's about gods in America. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. No, but like
that's a surprise.
Gods actually exist and are powerful because people believing in them, and so you have gods in America, and it's like when immigrants and people came to America, they took their gods with them, and then because of them believing in those gods, they started to exist. So you have like God, like Odin is like a character, or like there's Jesus, multiple Jesus. There are like 40 types of Jesus in the show, which is kind of hilarious because there are different people believing in Jesus, like, and they all imagine a different version of of Jesus. So a different version of Jesus exists. So there are like a shit ton of Jesus walking around, like immigrant Jesus as well. It's kind of hilarious.
Hey! Don't bother Korean Jesus. He's got a lot of Korean shit on his mind.
Yeah, like there is like I think in the background you see like some Asian Jesus as well, but also there are new gods that are like because of people believing in like technology. There's like the god of technology, they call him Technology Boy. There's the god of media, played by Gillian Anderson from like X-Files, who is great by the way because that's like every time she turns up she's like dressed and acts like a different like media character. So at one point she's like Bowie, and you have like she's completely dressed up as Bowie, and they have like a Bowie type background music as well while she's talking, and it's very interesting done. The main characters are played by Ian McShane, who is perfect. Like I read the book and I couldn't have like picked a better actor to play that character than Ian McShane, who was like killing it like completely. And that's the main problem is that Ian McShane is so good that the other main character is just like is very like a lot less interesting than Ian McShane because he's just perfect as the character. But yeah, it's very interesting show. It's very weird. Like this show makes the sex scenes in what is that Netflix show I'm thinking about from the Matrix creators? You know what show I'm talking about? Sense8.
Sense8, yeah.
This show makes the sex scenes in Sense8 look tame in comparison at times because it's so weird. There's literally I can't spoil it, but there's like one sex scene in the first episode where you're like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like insane. But yeah, great show. Extremely weird. Like if you have to be in for something like extremely weird and out there if you gonna watch that show. But it's amazing.
That's cool. That sounds great. Is that on Netflix itself?
I watched it online. I downloaded it. I don't think it's on Netflix. Maybe in the future at some point.
Okay, if anybody's listening, Brad didn't download that. He's watching it legally on terrestrial TV. uh, yeah. Well, anything with Ian McShane in it is probably worth checking out because he's awesome. Um, um, yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to get the opportunity to see it, but yeah, I'd certainly like to see that. On the note of Sense8, like I recently started watching the second season of Sense8, but for whatever fucking reason, I just can't get. I can't like find my interest reinvigorated in that show. Like every time I watch it, it's just like this is tedious. Like I feel like really bored while watching it, and end up like my mind just kind of wanders. Although the end of the first episode had something awesome, if I remember rightly. But it's like one of those shows like I can't. I loved the first season. I watched it compulsively, but there's something about the second one I just can't quite rekindle that kind of like urgency. Interesting. Neither here
I
nor
haven't
there.
I haven't seen the second season either. I know it's like at first I didn't start it because I heard the show was cancelled
Hmm.
and without having a good ending. But then they like said, oh yeah, we're not gonna have like a third season, but there's gonna be like a movie or something on Netflix that finishes up the story.
Well, that's good.
So I'm still interested in finishing that at some point, but it
Yeah, me
hasn't.
too.
It's not on the burner at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in the same way. I mean, I'm probably gonna watch the entirety of Game of Thrones, and then I'm gonna go back and sort of like maybe watch some other TV shows because like when it's Game of Thrones time, it's like Game of Thrones just obliterates everything. And I'm not talking about the new season. I can't watch that at the moment, but I'm watching all the old seasons of Game of Thrones. So like I find like when that time comes, it's Game of Thrones time. Like everything just stops in its tracks, and it's just Game of Thrones time. Like TV wise. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the last thing on my list, which is Elite Dangerous. Yeah. So, oh fuck me, I love Elite Dangerous. It's brilliant. Oh god, that game's good. Yep. Jeez. So it's like No Man's Sky was a complete letdown and a disappointment. Elite Dangerous is totally the opposite. Delivered on everything that you would expect it to deliver on. Uh, it lives up to its reputation. It's confusing as fuck. It's incredibly difficult and demanding. Um, if you have less than 3 hours to sit down and play that game, forget about it. You're not doing anything. It really is a time sapping game, like more than any other game. Like I sat down, I had 2 hours last night. I sat down for 2 hours, literally got nothing done, and failed completely in my objective that I was trying to do at the time because I got too confused and didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I just literally wasted 2 hours of my life playing it last night. But every single second I spend in that game is brilliant. It is so fun. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's just you in a very very complicated spaceship where you have to like manage power consumption, um like where to put the energy in your ship. You have to like request docking to enter space stations, all landing is like completely manual. You have to do it yourself by inches. It's brilliant. Just going into a space station and landing is an adventure in that game. It's fucking excellent. Word to the wise: never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, turn off flight assist. Bad idea. It's wonderful. Just going through the universe, light jumping from planet to planet. It's completely freeform. There is no goal. It's what you make of it. It's like you put your own imagination, you put your own effort to make that into something. Because there's literally, it just gives you your ship and just says go, with no information whatsoever. I mean, you can play the tutorials, but even the tutorials, I died multiple times on the tutorials. Like, even the tutorials don't really give you much information, to be honest. It's a really weird form of tutorial. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm making the game sound good here, but when you get off into the stars, and you're trying to figure things out, you spend ages, for example, in the galaxy map, just like route charting, like finding out where to go, where you can jump to get to the quickest place. And then usually when you jump to a certain place, you'll end up having to refuel at some strange station or something, and you'll pick up new side quests or whatever, and it's just it's brilliant. And when you finally, after several hours of trying to get your objective done, when you finally can turn in that objective and get the money for it, it's a really satisfying feeling. Like, I think when I turned in my first mission, which was, I had to go to a planet and pick up some canisters that had been marooned on the planet and bring them back to the research station. Like, when I finally, that took me 3 hours, that mission. When I finally turned in that mission reward and I got that money, it was just like, yes, I'm a genius, I'm an interstellar maniac. It was good stuff. So if you got the kind of inclination to enjoy, the wonder of the universe and just be floating out there with the stars with no specific objective, that is a great game. It's way better than No Man's Sky, and I mean, like, substantially. The feeling you get just through flying around is way different. It's brilliant. Any thoughts on Elite Dangerous, Brack?
It's a game I have literally no interest in playing. I know it's like there. I'm glad it exists because I know there are some people that will probably love it, but some game where I literally have to like put in like 5 hours just to like get the hang of playing it. You know what I mean? Like, just to understand playing the tutorials and everything. I don't have interest in that. I don't like the simulators. I don't want to go to driving school to play a video game. That's all I'm saying.
I have about 15 hours put into that game, and I shit you not. I went yesterday, like I said, I went off to mine an asteroid. Very simple thing. To mine an asteroid. Got confused as fuck and wasted 2 hours of my life. But
see, like I said, it seems like it's going to be like not my type of game, but I know people will love it. So, but a lot of people love those simulator type games, and this is basically like a space simulator in a way, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely, it is, without question. It is a deep spaceship simulator.
Yeah, and it's not my type. I'd rather have like an arcadey space game where I'm flying around and like having Star Trek adventures and shooting people out of the sky.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Do you know, Bragg? I've played that game for about 15 hours. I've not let off one shot. I've not fought with anyone. I've not had a single fucking fight. It's all about being like transferring cargo to here to there. It's great stuff. I love it. It's brilliant. No, tell a lie. I did shoot at one person because there was this prick just sat on the landing pad and he just wouldn't fucking move. And that was the landing pad I was supposed to dock at. So, like, I tried everything to try and dock while he was still... I didn't, so I just shot him and then it got fined.
But did he leave?
No! And I didn't blow him up because I didn't want to get in that much trouble for killing someone, so... but anyway, yeah, great game. If you do have the inclination for space simulators, go play it because you're missing a trick. If you're in for something deep, real deep, exactly that. Just a deep space simulator. You can't do no better than Elite Dangerous, I believe. So, Brack, what's next on your list?
Nothing.
That's right, because I was last, wasn't I? I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So, with that, we're going to move out of the shallows and into the depths. Welcome back to the depths. So today on the depths, we're actually going to be talking about the PS3. So recently, the PS3 finally ceased production, so it's no longer being produced. There are going to be no more new PS3s in the world, which is kind of sad on one hand because no more new PS3s, but also kind of alright, I guess, because of PS Now. I mean, if you really, really, really want to go and play the PS3 games, I guess you can always use that service.
Also, it's kind of insane, right? Because the PS3 started in like 2006 or something. So it's been going for like 11 years. So that's a long time for a console.
That is
compared
a long time
to like
for a console.
other generations, I think.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Bragg. But to me, it doesn't seem so long because I'm an adult, and time sort of, I don't know, it goes much
Time
quicker.
slows down
No,
when you're older.
No. It's
It's
the
actually,
opposite, Bragg. It
it's
speeds
actually,
up.
Oh no, yeah, it speeds up. I mean, it's actually a true theory where people say that like from you're born till you're like 12 feels as long as the rest of your life.
I think they're fucking right about that. I'm telling you, like exponentially, weeks seem to go by like in seconds these days. Like it's crazy. It's pretty depressing and terrible. I'm gonna die soon. But we at the Radiophonic Sea Creatures are gonna sort of celebrate the PS3's life by having 2 episodes about the PS3. So one of them we're gonna do like the hidden gems of the PS3, the games that aren't particularly famous but we really fucking enjoyed, and we're also gonna do like a top 10 best PS3 games of all time. Today we're going to do the hidden gems. So unfortunately Human Metal is absent, so we can probably avoid any reference to some obscure Mega Man / Street Fighter, whatever the fuck Human Metal
/ Japanese RPG
game. A game that literally no one ever heard about. And we're going to tell you about probably 6 more games that you probably have never heard about. No, that's not true actually, probably. So yeah, Brack, for the first hidden gem, would you like to go first or second? I will let you choose. I will be charitable.
I will go second. I'll let you go first.
Alright. Then Brack gets my sloppy seconds, so I will talk about...
Age before beauty, right?
Age before beauty, yes. Experience before total fucking noob. And I will talk about Disney Infinity. As my...
Very obscure, yeah.
No. I totally fucked up. Somehow on my pad I've written Disney Infinity. Totally wrong. Disney Universe. Sorry, totally wrong thing. Because Disney Infinity is what they did after Disney Universe. They took what they learned from Disney Universe and they made Disney Infinity. So, and I will tell you the parallels right now. So Disney Universe, again, was like the proto Disney Infinity. They gave you a whole bunch of worlds and levels in Disney Universe, and pretty much every Disney character you could ever think of. Like, so it's really difficult to explain Disney Universe, isn't it? So Disney Universe is an up to 4-player multiplayer game. You don't ever want to play it on your own. That's not good.
Is it like those Lego games? It looks like those Lego games to me, a little bit.
Not really, no. Yes and no. Yes and no. No, it's better than those, I think, because it's much more condensed, so they put all the high spots in one place. Like, one level will take you maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes maximum, but the level is full of like puzzles, like dragging this here, turning that round, opening up that gate, something falls out of there, then you need to take that and put it here, and then multitudes of enemies will come and you'll fight with them, and there are collectibles to find, and there are challenge gates where you can like fight with the other players. But it's sort of like, it's a little bit like the Lego games. I can see where that comparison is coming from, but there's also an element of Mario Party in it too, where you are competing who can get the most gold. So it's really fun to like stitch over the other players in the game to get the gold, and there's always like a mad rush to get like as much gold as you can, to kill as many enemies as you can. There are mini bosses, there are huge giant boss fights in the game. It's a shit ton of fun. Graphically, it's beautiful. It's got this really fantastic like cartoon aesthetic. At the end of every level, you can unlock a new character, and you can do that twice through. You can play each level through twice and unlock a new character. There are like something crazy like 60 characters to unlock or something stupid like that. There's a lot of funny comedy, just like the Lego games. But what really puts it down is like working together with another human to beat the bosses, solve the puzzles, but also like there are like these challenge gates that you get to. Every level has a challenge gate where you enter into a competitive mode, and then you go into a straight battle with the other players to win. It's a lot of fun to battle with another player, and so many just great stages. And Lego games have, like, if you play Lego Star Wars, it's all Star Wars, right? But in Disney Universe, you have various different stages. You got the Lion King, you got Aladdin, you got like the Nightmare Before Christmas. They're all visually dissimilar from each other, and they all have fantastic puzzles or fantastic set pieces. Like the Pirates of the Caribbean one has this huge ship battle where the ship keeps lurching from side to side, then everything falls down to the left, everything falls down to the right, and you have this giant battle with this like warship that comes in the back, and you need to use the mounted cannons to fire on the attacking ship while also abandoning the cannons as well to deal with the mini bosses that keep appearing behind you. It's a shit ton of fun. There are so many secrets. It's so colorful. I played the shit out of that with my kids. Basically, it's if you have kids, it's wonderful. Obviously, I'm not recommending this for adults. If you're an adult without kids, forget about it. You don't need to worry about that. But if you've got kids, if you're playing with younger people, it literally is one of the best games I can ever recommend on PlayStation 3. It's absolutely wonderful. And also the DLC for that game is excellent. Like, they have a Peter Pan DLC, and they have this huge crocodile boss fight where you're on this raft that's going down like a raging river, and the crocodile keeps attacking, and he'll come up in various different places of the raft, and it turns into like a great game of whack-a-mole, and like the boss like sends out shockwaves and stuff. It's such a good boss fight. It's great fun. A really good laugh. And then they basically looked at how good that game was, Disney Universe, and then they took most of the elements of that and made Disney Universe, but they fucking made you pay for the characters individually. Whereas in Disney Universe, you can get them all for free just by playing the fucking game. So it's like they looked at that and said, that's really good. Let's just make money off of that. So there you go.
And they probably did.
They probably damn did. But if you can get it, go back and, like, instead of paying through the nose to play Disney Infinity, fucking go find a copy of Disney Universe, get it all for free. It's amazing. Play it with your kids. You'll love it. Any thoughts about that, Brack, from what you've seen?
I just Googled a little bit. That's something I'm not that interested in. Yeah. I don't have kids, so it's not something for me. I don't even like those Lego games. That are alright as well, but I also like kind of stopped enjoying those after a while. So.
Well, I can tell you from my own personal perspective, I enjoy Disney Universe much more than I enjoyed any of the Lego games, and I have like Lego Harry Potter and Lego Star Wars too, which I've also played with my daughter, but Disney Universe was king shit fuck mountain when it came to that. Like,
see, I really like the idea that you work together but still working against each other as well. It's still competitive while also being cooperative. I like that idea. So that's something I would like to see in more games, but Disney Universe itself, I'm not really interested in playing.
There are some mean tricks you can play in that game. Like, there are many platforms where there are many sequences where you have to stand on the switch and the other person has to go on the platforms, and you just accidentally step off the switch. Oh, I'm sorry. So they fall to their death. And eventually, at some point in every level, a fucking huge fight breaks out and everybody just starts attacking everybody.
So you can actually do that with Lego as well, but there's like no point to it. Yeah. Like there's you don't get anything to it. But I did that with a friend of mine. So like when we were kids, like so much, like Lego Star Wars, the first one on the PS2, so much that we got so angry that he literally left my house. I just went back home.
That's
It's like, oh fuck you, and it just like he just left. It's literally just completely
I remember gaining one of my friends a Street Fighter so bad that he got enraged and left my house.
like he literally like didn't say a thing. He just stood up, grabbed his bag, and just went out the door. I didn't see him again for like a week.
That's video game gold right there. Yeah, but thankfully in Disney Universe there's actually a point to stitching over because it's all about who's on the podium at the end. They make you deal out of it, who's on the podium at the end. So everybody wants that extra bit of gold. All right, so what's first on your list, Brack?
First on my list is the video game. It's like a digital video game called Tokyo Jungle. I don't think you've heard of this, but it's.
I know the game.
You know about it?
Yeah, I've played it.
It's a survival game after, like in Tokyo, after like the future and all the humans are dead, I'm guessing. So who's left? Animals. So in this game, you're playing like any animal. You can choose multiple, but you start out playing like the smaller, like tiny dogs or cats or whatever. You just have to survive in Tokyo. You have to hunt. Yeah, have to find like food and find shelter. You have to find a pretty a pretty dog to have sex with to get kids, and then if you have kids, you have two dogs, and you get like you have like a bigger pack, and you can get level up. You just have to survive, and then at some point you can actually like you have to do some objectives, and at some point you can find a boss, so you have to fight the boss, and if you win, you unlock that animal, and you can play as that animal next, and you can start like if a shit ton of animals. You start with like tiny, like poodles and like tiny cats, but end up with like alligators and like lions and cheetahs and wolves and like crocodiles and whatever. And it's just fun when you're playing like run around. You're playing like as literally you can play as a mouse. You play as a mouse for like, and then you have to survive as a mouse. It sucks. And then later on, now you're a lion and you just can kick ass and you can just hunt everywhere and explore the city. It's very fun. It becomes after a while it's too repetitive after a while, but for it's such a unique experience. It's like very enjoyable for while playing it.
I spent a lot of time in that game just like laughing my ass off. I mean, it's just really really funny to see like a Papillon, one of those horrible little dead-eyed dogs, go and kill a rabbit, and then when you're eating it, basically the body just explodes into a pile of bones. It's it's pretty funny. I didn't get very far in that game. I didn't find it as enjoyable as you do, but it is funny
That's
to
also
see.
my negative about it. That like it takes too long to get from the shitty animals to get to the good animals. Like it takes a long time for having like oh shit, you have to go through all the dogs first, and then you have to go play as the cats before you get like the lions and the cheetahs and stuff like that. The real stuff, the guys you really want to play as.
Mm, I didn't have patience to get to the good animals, but there was definite enjoyment, prowling around as a cat, avoiding beagles and things like that, and or fighting with beagles occasionally. It was quite funny, but yeah, I certainly didn't have as much fun as with it as you did. But yeah, I mean, it must certainly be fun to be playing as some of the bigger animals in that game. Just feel powerful for a change, because most of it's
Yeah,
like you're really on the back end of being hunted, and it's quite challenging as well. It's not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination.
no. It's very hard. It can get frustrating because it's permadeath. If you die, you're just like game over. You have to start again. So especially for the later animals to get like to finish the objectives and to get like to the boss, you have to stay alive for a long time. So you have to find food and water, and then it takes almost like an hour, half an hour or something, and then you finally get to the boss, and then you have that. Oh shit, that start all over again, and that can get quite frustrating after a while.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what killed me early on in the game. But yeah, good stuff. So I guess I'll come on to the second place. Um,
Hmm.
so my second place is going to be for a game I really really love. Actually, it's one of my favorite games from the PlayStation 3, which would be Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Love that game. One of the best B games on the PlayStation, in my opinion. Um, yeah, just a very simple action game. You have a huge ass sword, or axe, or chainsword, or whatever the fuck, and you have just hundreds of enemies just come at you, and you gotta murder them. That's great stuff. Also, there's a great rock, paper, scissors element going on with the weapons. So as you go through the game, you get new weapons and stuff, but certain weapons are really good for killing certain enemies, whilst other weapons are good for killing others. And you really need to be aware of that, because when you arrive on a battlefield, there are literally hundreds of enemies going to come at you. Hundreds of them, literally. And you really need to pick and choose your spots. And you really sort of have to strategize on the battlefield. You know, you have to think to yourself, right, first off, I need to take out those rocket snipers over there with the rocket launchers. Then I'm going to take out these guys with the shotgun, and I'm going to use melee combat for these guys when they get too close. You really need to be aware of what you're firing at who and what is effective against what. You know, like for example, some enemies have shields, and you need to use special weapons to take out their shields first before you do damage to them. Like, there's a lot of kind of, it's very basic because it's just a massive melee combat game, but there's a lot of kind of strategy, battlefield strategy that goes involved. But the thing that makes it so good is the plot line. The plot line, the acting, and just the love that was poured into every detail of that game. It's just like this really cohesive, deep science fiction world, you know, created by Games Workshop. You really feel like the love and passion put into that. And the acting is brilliant. Mark Strong plays the main character, and the plot line is very interesting and cool. And you're going with the squad of like these 3 Marines that are with you at all times. You know, I won't spoil the plot just in case you play it, but there are some shocks and shimmies along the way. Some absolutely badass, all-time unforgettable like plot-wise gaming moments. Come back here! I'm not finished with you, Space Marine, but I am finished with you, Orc. It's awesome. If you played that, you shit your cacks with pleasure right there. It's an amazing moment. Yeah, great bosses, great storyline, satisfying ending, satisfying combat, feels meaty, feels mean as fuck, and just brilliant game. Loved every single second of it. I've played it through, I think, 3 times. Brilliant. How about you, Brack? Did you play Space Marine?
I think, yeah, I played it, but I'm not sure if I finished it. But I enjoyed what I played. But definitely not as much as you did. But yeah, I like the unique combat where it's like a hack and slash with shooting. You know, it's like it's like Gears of War mixed with God of War.
Yeah.
In a little bit. But you have like those brutal finishing moves that give you like health or like ammo or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. You have to strategize. You always have to leave at least one decent sized enemy to get your health back. So there's also that thrown into the mix as well, which is fun.
But yeah, when I played, I enjoyed, but I wasn't like a huge fan as you. I found like the environments were like very much like this grayish, boring. Like I don't know. I really didn't like the look of a lot of like the where you're playing in. The environments were all like very similar, very like gray machine buildings. You know what I mean? Concrete, lots of concrete. That's what I remember.
I agree with that. Lots of concrete, lots of metal, but I loved it because I thought it fit very, very well within the plot line. That was the plot. That was the world you were on. That, you know, you were walking through factories or, you know, as they call them, factorums or like this type of thing. But I thought the world design, yeah, it was grey and bland, but that was a grey, bland place you were in. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. The environmental design I thought was great. So I think we disagree on that a little bit. I enjoyed the world building.
All right. Yeah, I also wasn't that big fan of the story as you were, but and I wouldn't have noticed it was Mark Strong. I didn't notice it was Mark Strong until later on when I
Oh,
looked it up.
oh yeah, he was. Yeah, Mark Strong was amazing. Now I think I noticed him immediately. It's just, hey, that's Mark Strong. I think I noticed that straight off the bat. So I had that going for me. Oh, it's badass. Loved it.
All right.
All right. So what's second place on your list, Brack?
Second place on my list is a game called 3D Dot Game Heroes, which I can see your confusion. You have no clue what
No,
I'm talking about.
no. I
Oh,
know
you do?
exactly what you're talking about because I recently saw a video about that game, and I thought to myself, God, that looks really good. I really want to play that. And then I checked on PlayStation 4, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like, what system is that on? And now I know.
It's PS3. Yeah, it's I played it through last year during the time that I didn't have a PS4. And I would look for some games like, oh shit, I need some games that I really wanted to play, but for some reason never got to. And one of those games was 3D Dot Game Heroes, which is very hard to find as well. But it's it's like a tribute to Zelda in a lot of ways, and it's a world completely made up out of they're called voxels, like those really tiny blocks, and which also makes gives it a very very unique look. You can create your character extremely detailed, way too detailed actually, because it takes so much time to create a character that I didn't even try it, because you have to create it literally block by block by block. You can create your character, and it's like, oh my god, it's super hard.
And that would be it would be super hard, but it'd only be one block for your dick.
It would be a very tall block.
But still a block.
But I've seen people who've created complete characters. There's a Sackboy from Little Big Planet you can download or something, and I played most of it as a skeleton and at some point as a dragon, and you can switch characters whenever you want to as well, which is very entertaining. You just I just play Link now, because some people probably have created Link, and now I'm playing as Sackboy for a while. Now I'm gonna play as a dragon, but it's very much it's a Zelda. I wouldn't call it a rip-off. It's more of a tribute to Zelda. They make references, make fun of Zelda tropes. You have to do the classic Zelda stuff where there's dungeons, and you have to find this stuff, so then you can have the boomerang, so you can get through this location. Otherwise, you can't get through there. There are a lot of in jokes about there's some points where you break through a cave in the world, and you literally go behind the scenes where you see people working on the game, they're developing the game and stuff like that. There's some fun jokes like that. It's just a very enjoyable classic style Zelda game. If you're bored of like me, you're not a big fan of most of the 3D Zelda games, this is a lot very much for you. Just a classic fun Zelda adventure.
It sounds really good to me, Brack. As I say, I've forgotten where I saw it, whatever, but I was watching something and I saw some footage of that, and I was just like, oh man, that game looks awesome. So
also, you're making fun of the one block for dick, but the main character probably only has 0 blocks for dick, because he's very much overcompensating, because you have a giant sword. It's you have the biggest sword you ever seen in a video game. It's at least 20 times as big as you. Especially if you're not hurt, if you have full health, your sword is just huge, and you can just fill the entire screen with it.
That's my love life right there. That's my dick.
You can literally you actually have to swing it around as a dick to kill enemies. You have to shoot and then do flip, and then you fill the entire screen with your sword, and then you can hurt people and when the enemies die, Resurgard or something like that, it has this very satisfying seeing them fall into blocks, explode into tiny blocks that fill the screen. Very satisfying to just destroy people with it, and you have to really be strategic with the combat, because if you get hurt once, then you don't have to. Your sword gets back to normal size, it's gold or something. So your sword gets back to normal size, and it's way harder to hit enemies with it, and it's just a lot more difficult then. So you need to be sure that you're full health at all times, or at least when you hurt, you have to get the heart as quickly as possible. Then you can go through it a lot easier again. So yeah, it's very strategic, and it's just a very very fun video game.
It's basically like when you finally get to see Gillian Anderson's titties, and you realize that they droop right down to the floor and kind of drag on the floor like shopping bags, and then it just you get injured and it just gets smaller. But then if you want to get back to full health, so you can close your eyes and think about Scarlett Johansson, get on with the deed, and it grows again.
Just like that. You described it perfectly.
Scarlett Johansson's like a health pack, is what I'm saying. A health pack for your dick. But yeah, Brack, that game does look awesome, by the way. It really does. I'm interested to play it. I'm not sure if I have time in my life to ever play it, but certainly it's a game that I have looked at and thought, oh man, I want to play that.
Yeah, and that's maybe one of the problems because it's not. There's no PS4 game version of it. It's not even digital, I think, on PS3. So you only have to get the physical edition, which I've heard is very, very rare to hard to find.
Oh Jesus Christ, it's Dragon Force all over again. Go play Dragon Force if you haven't. It's amazing. Download yourself a Sega Saturn emulator. Go play
Uh,
Dragon Force. Okay, forget these
because
PS3 play games. Go do that. It's awesome.
because I think it's sold very poorly. Because a game like that would like really we just like entered the space of like having digital games and stuff like that, and they came out with this game, which a lot of people think should be like a $50 arcade game, but they asked like a full 60 bucks for it, and it is only like physical. So it's a reason why it didn't sell well and they have not didn't print a lot of copies, so it's very hard to find the game these days.
You know what? And I can see sense in that because, like, I thought that was when looking at it, I thought it was a digital only game. So, like I went to look in the digital space and couldn't find it. So I didn't really think about looking for it on disc because it doesn't seem like something that should be on disc. But there you go.
Which I understand. That's the main reason. I was lucky that I got it for cheap or at some point, but otherwise I probably wouldn't have tried it because it seems very. I don't know. It's the asking price. It seems very steep for what you're getting, even though it's actually worth it because it's like a pretty long game and it's very, very unique and very like beautiful. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good game. Just try to find it, and if you can't, then fuck you. You shit out of luck.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Breck? I might actually try and find that and see if I can get a cheap copy. All right. So that comes on to the number one. The number one. Hidden gem. It's not really hidden, but the number one sort of like B game from the PlayStation 3 era, and that, of course, I'm Tokyo Choo Choo, so of course it's going to be a Sonic game. It's going to be the best Sonic the Hedgehog game on the PlayStation 3, which of course is, drumroll please, bum ba bum bum. That's not a drumroll. What am I doing? It's Sonic and Sega All Star Racing, the karting game. It's Jesus Christ. Sonic Sega All Star Racing is absolutely fucking awesome. That is a really fucking really fucking great game series. So the first one. So there are two of those games, by the way. Like you have Sonic and Sega All Star Racing, and you have Sonic All Star Racing Transformed. The first one just hit this perfect blend. It was like the bones of Mario Kart, but then combined with the drifting mechanics of Outrun, combined with the nasty, dirty speed of F-Zero, and the twisting sort of loop-the-loop style track design of F-Zero. It was like this absolutely perfect melding of those three things. It was just a beast of a karting game, just absolutely magnificent. And it had a really good way of unlocking characters. There's tons of characters to unlock in that game. And the way you would unlock them is just simply by playing the game. Win or lose, you would always win coins from that game. And then you could spend the coins to unlock anything in the game that you wanted. Characters, new tracks for time trial, etc. So it was a really, really good system and gave you impetus to just keep playing that game. To unlock everything, which I did. I played it so much. The only bad thing, the only minor complaint I would have about that game is that in the game the tracks were divided into clusters. Like you'd have one cluster which was like Sonic the Hedgehog's Casino Zone, and you'd have like 4 tracks of that, and then you have like Eggman's track, and you have 4 tracks of that, and they were kind of very visually similar. So the one complaint I had about the original game, it was a nitpick, was that, I wish there was more variety visually in the tracks. But then came the sequel, which completely addressed that, because in the sequel, Sonic Sega All-Star Racing Transformed, all of the tracks were unique, individual. Visually, aesthetically, they're all completely different. Plus, they added in the ability to be able to transform from a car to a boat to a plane. So they added even more stuff. Like they added the kind of like the wave race mechanics of the way the waves would undulate, and then if you caught a big wave, you could do like stunts off of it and stuff. And they added the fantastic flying mechanics from. I can't really think of a game that has those flying mechanics, but yeah, flying mechanics, where
I
suddenly
know.
up is down and down is up, and just
Diddy Kong
absolutely.
Racing.
Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, they copied Diddy Kong Racing, added basically Diddy Kong Racing into the second game, but they did it better than Diddy Kong Racing because they had like I say they had the mechanics of like that drifting mechanic from Outrun is flawless. When you drift around, because there are various types of drift. You know, if you let off the accelerator, you can turn sharper, like and stuff like that. Like when you can drift around like an L turn or something, and then immediately head into a jump that you stunt off of, get a boost, and then head into a massive drift where you get like a three tier like boost level. There's some flow about that. There's some real kind of kinetic, visceral joy of being able to string together those combos and go as fast as you possibly can and as skillfully as you can. There isn't that element in Mario Kart. It's much faster and much more satisfying, just much more fun to drive and much more exciting to drive in that game than it is in Mario Kart. I think the formula in Mario Kart was getting really fucking stale, and then Sonic Sega All Star Racing just flipped it, just changed it, made it better, made something a kart game that was genuinely, authentically better than Mario Kart. And of course, with Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart basically took a good long look at Sonic and was just like, shit, that's awesome. Let's incorporate all of those elements into our next Mario Kart, which they did, and made probably the best Mario Kart ever made off the back of that game. But on the PlayStation 3, there is no Mario Kart. If you're looking for a good karting game, you cannot do any better than that series. And Sonic Sega All Star Racing Transformed is the best of the bunch. But however, the one complaint I will say, the way you unlock characters is fucking bullshit. It's one of the most annoying things on the PlayStation, because in the original, like I already said, you earn coins, you spend them on whatever you want to unlock characters. Great, that's fun. No, in Sonic in the second one, Sonic Sega All Star Racing is Transformed, they fucking force you to go into this challenge mode where they pit you against these really ridiculous challenges, these ultra tight time trials, and these fucking like battles against this weird tank that's dropping dynamite off the back of it. It's total BS. And so all the interesting characters, like, who doesn't want to play as the dwarf from Golden Axe riding on the back of his chicken? I want to play as that character. Unfortunately, I'll never be as good as the game wants me to be at that game to unlock him. So fuck that. I don't appreciate that type of exclusion. However, that's nitpicking because the game is brilliant. The tracks are brilliant. The soundtrack is excellent. The mechanics, the design is just absolutely pinpoint perfect, as good as a kart racing game as you could ever want. That is my pick for the best hidden gem on the PlayStation. If you want a good kart racing game on your PlayStation, that is the game you go for. It's fucking excellent. How about you, Brack? Any thoughts on that series?
I think I played the first one a little bit, but I definitely played the second one. I definitely played Transformed, and I was really shitty at it. That's what I remember the last time I played it. But it's a good game. It's if you like Mario Kart, this is a good version of Mario Kart.
It's
It
better
seems
than
like
Mario Kart.
they should have made like a new one for PS4, like play online with friends and stuff like that. Uh, I really agree with you on the unlocking of characters, which is just the worst. In the second one, it's like impossible to unlock some characters. Like unless you're like a savant at the game, then it's impossible to unlock like at least 4 characters or something. It's insane.
Yeah, that is total fucking bullshit. It really irks me. But however, I will add one thing to that. That game is timeless because that game is current for me. Like I always wanted to play that game with my daughter, and just recently, we started playing together, and she's gotten good enough that she can beat me
Kick
from
your
time.
ass all
No,
the
no, no,
time.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. From time to time. But like, so one night I got really fucking bonged up drunk. Like I got fucked up drunk, and I played like the game from like 11 p.m. till 1 p.m. 1 a.m. like with my daughter who's like 11, and so her mother was fucking furious with me. But but I played like it on a school night as well. This was so, but like I played that game with her and she kicked my ass. But of course I was like fucked up drunk. But that session made her a fan of the game because she learned how to play it and she could beat me at doing it. But then of course today, literally before this podcast, I was playing with her and stone sober. And yeah, I beat her every round we played. But
good for you. You beat a 12-year-old girl at a video
I did. She cried. I felt legitimately guilty. But I was saying to her, like I want you to win, but I'm not gonna let you win. So just get better at it. Just practice a little bit, because she's right on the cusp. She's almost good enough to beat me legitimately. She's almost there. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this weekend, where she's going to train hard, I think, and come back and kick my ass. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. So
I actually have my copy of this game over at a friend of mine's, and every once in a while when we get drunk and we're tired of playing whatever else games we're playing, we always play Sonic Transformed every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I always lose. He's so much better at it than me. And that sucks. I'm always like 7th or something, and he's like 3rd. But we're still both of us are not good. But he's still better than me.
Oh my god, I gotta play this game with you, Brad, because that's one game I would beast your ass at.
Oh,
like
definitely.
seriously. That's a switch. That would definitely be a switch. All right, Brad, what's your number one?
So my number one is like obviously the most underrated game of all time. It's based on a very popular artist. Some people would say musician, but I say artist. I'm talking, of course, about 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you.
What I was about to say, Brad, get the fuck out. I'm gonna
Which,
knife
by
you.
the way, I have finished 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. I
What?
own 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. And that game is hilariously bad. It's so fun. It's like a Gears of War ripoff, only with 50 Cent is the main character, and you can unlock like you can unlock like shit talking options like voice lines where you're like, oh, good on this. And the entire story is about 50 Cent doing a concert in the Middle East, and his golden skull or something gets stolen, so he has to by terrorists, so he has to go after those terrorists.
Fucking hell.
I looked at that game once, and I've played it again for a little bit with a friend of mine, and we both of the times we had a really amazing time with it. That game is bad, but it's hilarious. But no, so I'm not just talking about the very underrated, amazing 50 Cent Blood of the Sand. I'm also the actual game I'm talking about is Katamari Forever, and you people might know Katamari Forever already. It's the cute game with the fun soundtrack, with very catchy soundtrack, by the way. Like the soundtrack is insanely catchy. I wish they would put it on Spotify or something so I could listen to it more easily. But it's the game where you start as a tiny guy pushing a ball around, and every time you go over something, it will get sucked into the ball, and the more people things you suck into the ball, the bigger it gets. So you start out as like a tiny little guy, and you're like getting like paper clips and pencils and stuff like that. Maybe tiny little bits of candy. But the further you go, you get bigger and bigger. And so at some points, at some levels, you even go so big that you actually are like the planet-sized, where you're actually like sucking up like people and cities and like buildings and like sea creatures and stuff like that. And like you could easily make this game into like a horror movie, which would be amazing, by the way. Like from the perspective of like human beings seeing like a ball like sucking up other people who just become part of the giant like meatball, and like
Jesus.
it would be horrifying. It would be horrifying. But when you're playing it, it's just a cutesy little fun game. And this is like a remix almost. Like it's for me, it's like one of the first version of the game I've played. I also played the version on the Vita, but I've never played any of the PS2 games. And that's pretty good actually, because this Katamari Forever is a remake that contains stages from like the previous titles in the series, like from the PS2 version. So it's like a best of almost, the best of album for Katamari. And it's very colorful. It's very fun. It's very entertaining. It looks great. It very much holds up in graphics because I only played it like last year and it's still pretty like cel shaded, so it stays pretty for a long time. And it's just a very entertaining, unique puzzle game that you probably can't get anywhere else.
Well, it's pretty much like a game about my testicles. I mean, sure, I do occasionally attach bits of candy to my testicles to attract young girls, but
And paper clips as well.
Yeah, well, occasionally paper clips because there's paper to be clipped to my testicles, I guess. But the thing is, like, when I do attract young girls, they usually do pierce my testicles with pencils. So, um, it's it's not really a good thing, I guess. But yeah, actually, I did.
Right.
I did actually play the demo, and I think most of the time I was like rolling over sheep. I think, which is kind of funny. But or unless I'm getting confused with a different game, I don't know. But it does sound like a lot of fun. A lot of stupid, bizarre fun. But I've not really heard of that game before. I think I might have played the demo on PlayStation 3, but I'm not 100% sure. But it does sound like a lot of stupid fun. Like the game Octodad. Do you know the game Octodad? That also looks like a lot of fun. Like
I own it, but I've never played it.
You own it, but you've never played it?
Yeah. I know it's weird.
Yeah, that is.
I wanted to because I feel like it's a perfect party game, Octodad. You know what I mean? To play it with like other people around, but I have never found the time to actually have people over and then like suggest like, come on, let's play Octodad together. So, you know what I mean? So
you need to be a pretty fucking hardcore gamer to suggest Octodad, yeah. Hey, Brack, by any chance you have the game over Octodad?
But Octodad is one of those games where it's like fun to just watch people play it as well. And so it seems like kind of a party game, but I never had a chance to play it just yet. But I will at some point, obviously.
Yeah, I've always considered picking up Octodad, and I think Octodad, like, for me in my mind, is sort of vaguely similar to what Katamari might be, I guess, in a sort of like action-y, puzzly kind of way. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if I'm ever going to play Katamari, but if the opportunity arrives, I will definitely consider it, Bragg. But hey, that's our opinion on the hidden gems of the PS3. So what's your opinion, oh valued listeners? If you have any hidden gems of the PS3, please sound off in the comment section. Like, seriously, really do sound off in the comment section, because you might actually, suggest something really good that Brack and I haven't played. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's visit to the ocean floor. Please join us next time you look deep into the sun and then end up blind because you were a stupid motherfucker for doing it in the first place.